human and divine connection. That's what God has given us, human and divine connection. Human connection, you take these two people that were intimate, and that's connection, or it's supposed to be. And then you were conceived, and your conception grew, and there was an umbilical cord that you were completely dependent on your mom. You couldn't have survived without that umbilical cord. You couldn't have survived without the flow of blood and nutrition from your mother to you. She protected you there, and you continued to grow. The beautiful thing about that is it was a picture of what God wanted to establish for the rest of your life, and that was human connection. Not anybody in this room was ever born alone. Nobody was born alone, Mbe. Nobody. You were never supposed to be alone. That connection was supposed to set you up for family. And that family is supposed to set you up for your own family. And your own family is supposed to set you up for the next thing and the next thing. But you know what? We're so broken, and even Mother's Day, and I have to say, for me, it's hard, a little bit hard, because I lost my mother so long ago. And I lost my mother really because of bad choices that she'd made and my father made, and they were just drunk in a car. And that affected all of the 10 children. But there was something about that also, was that way before the accident, my mother gave me away. Of all the 10 children, she picked 2 to give away. And then I'm just one in a number of people that have my same story. But do you know, Mother's Day can be hard. Women who have had miscarriages, Mother's Day is hard because their hope has been crushed. And yet, the spiritually phenomenal thing about that is all things are redeemable. All things. After the service, I talked to a beautiful person, and the same thing, her mom is gone. And she's like, it hurt. It really hurt. It does hurt. The pain is not the same year after year. You get over it, and then you pass something on to the next generation. And mine will not be pain. This human connection that we have, I mean, it just baffles me that there's that of 8 billion people, God wants communication with us. He wants us to be connected to one another. And I love that even in our brains, all of these synapses that make connections with one another, in our brains alone, there's 85 billion neurons. For you, free, for you. And so we got to make some of these connections we are so gifted to then pass that along to the next. We're so gifted to be brilliantly at what we're doing as human beings. And this is the second thing. One is identity, and the second one is connectedness, because we're all really want intimacy. And the third thing that is free, and God gives it to us freely, is value. Value. I am just amazed that when we hit the world, we come out, we're, screaming, but then we calm down, and then our value immediately is great for a while, but then we get to be adults and we just compare each other to ourselves. Okay, I'm of this value in this room, and then I'm trying to create value, and then my image management score, and then all the things, and we're just hurting ourselves and each other because we think the stuff gets our value up, the lack gets it down. I have a sleeping thing. I can't sleep at night. I decided Erwin wasn't home, I'm going to sit up in my bed, I'm going to work. It was 12 midnight I woke up. And that was like, when did I go to sleep? I said, okay, I got some hours, I'm going to send them work. So I started calling everybody I know on the other side of the world because, my work here is global. And so in my phone, I just text Joyce Joyce Banda. And I text her, I'm praying for you. And she just began to text me back. So many words. And then for 2.5 hours, we were communicating. And I thought, isn't it just like God? to a person I didn't know in January in Malawi, and she invited me to her home. And you don't just call her Joyce Banda. You call her Your Excellency, because she's the former president of the Republic of Malawi. And for me to go and knock on her door, do you understand? I'm not worthy of that. But now she's talking to me on WhatsApp for 2.5 hours. And I'm like, see, this is what God does. He takes somebody and he raises them up to where he wants them to be. And no man, no woman can ever stop that. He will put you in the seat where he wants you if you will follow him. And there I sat, and she told me, she goes, I'm crying that you're praying for me. I am thinking about you, and I am thinking about all the people that we lost in that cyclone. 1,000 people. And she said, we did it because the same cyclone hit Madagascar and Mozambique, and only 58 houses fell, and 10,000 houses fell in Malawi because they're not smart houses. They're not resilient. And that day, on that phone call, in the middle of the night, because God does things in the middle of the night with me, we committed as a community. Thank you for letting me commit your life away. We committed as a community to build 100 of those homes, the first 100. Yes? Yes. Because that's going to improve their value. Not everything that you're going to do with your life is going to improve your value, but you must give away the gift God's given you. This is what the scriptures say, and I'll just say this. The thing I need you to pray for me about that needs to happen is I need $40,000 by tomorrow morning, because I committed to her I would send the money for 10 houses right away. You know how much the houses cost? $3,500. $3,500. That is nothing in this economy compared when you buy a house. But to give somebody a new beginning, a new life, it's within our, I don't know how it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. I'll come back and I'll tell you it happened.